To commute or not to commute? That is one of many questions when it comes to figuring out where in Houston is the best for your family. So if you're looking to move to Houston or you're just interested in what commuting is like in Houston, please stay tuned. My name is Layla Hayes, and I am a real estate agent in Houston, Texas, and it is my goal to help make your family's move to Houston as stress-free and fun as possible. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, or if you just want to hear a little bit more about what Houston has to offer, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get down to it. When I first moved to Houston in 2005, wow, that was a long time ago, I had an apartment with my now husband down in what's called the Galleria area in Houston. My job was up on 249 North. So that ended up being a commute of maybe 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending on traffic. That was a choice that we made because the job was really good. The pay was really good. We didn't have any kids, so I was totally fine with commuting. Not too long after my husband and I got married, we moved to Kingwood, Texas. So from Kingwood over to that job up on 249 was still about a 45-minute commute. Really, really not bad. When my husband and I bought our house, I was working on one side of town. My husband was working downtown. Both of us were commuting about 45 minutes. When we chose the house, what was more important to us than the length of our commute was where the house was. We spent days driving all over the Houston area trying to figure out what place was going to have the house that we wanted at the price that we could afford in a location that we loved. We looked at the Woodlands and we thought, well, we don't know about the traffic on 45. We looked at Sugarland. We're like, wow, that's pretty far south. What it came down to us was a balance of amenities, the feel of the community, as well as the cost of the home and what the schools were like. We didn't have kids at the time, but we knew we were going to have kids. To commute or not to commute is one of those questions that you really have to consider very carefully when you're looking to move into the Houston area. If you're from a smaller town, maybe you're not used to commuting. Maybe it takes you 5 minutes to get to work. Maybe you already live in a big city. You live in Los Angeles and you're commuting an hour and a half. So 45 minutes each way sounds fantastic. Whatever it is, here's a few things to consider when you're deciding how far you're willing to commute for your dream home. First of all, consider kids. Do both parents work outside the home where you're going to need to have some flexibility whenever it comes to picking the kids up from school? Does one of you stay home? And so picking up the kids from school is less of an issue. Think about your budget. Maybe you are willing to compromise on location in order to get the better home if you're willing to commute 45 minutes. You also want to consider what is important to you in a community. For my husband and I, we really wanted that homier community, smaller town feel, which is what we got in Kingwood, Texas. There's not a whole heck of a lot to do around here, but it's only about 25 minutes to get to anything that is fun and interesting. With the access to a major highway like 59, Kingwood ended up really great because my husband's commute was pretty quick and it was just so quick for us to get to any of the places that we wanted to go. Also want you to think about how you're going to feel after that 45-minute, hour-long commute. When you get home from commuting that far in your new home, are you going to walk in the door and feel like, oh, that was so worth the drive? Or are you going to be like, we should have bought something closer to work? For some people, being closer to work is important. For other people, having the house of your dreams within your budget is more important. The reason that I do not recommend buying a home based on its proximity to your job. The average American does not stay at the same job for 20, 30, 40 years anymore. We tend to switch jobs quite a bit over our careers. So if you were to choose a home because it's 5 minutes away from your job and you get laid off and the next job that you get is an hour away, are you still going to be happy with that house that was 5 minutes from your old job? What I recommend is that you really go first with the house, the neighborhood, the schools that you feel are going to be best for your family, and then look at if the commute is worth it. And then figure out, okay, I don't want to commute 45 minutes, but I'll be willing to do 40. Now that can seem like a little bit, but it also can add up. Just take another step closer to your job. Or the homes that are closer to your job, they're out of your price range. So start taking steps away from your job. Ideally, you would be able to work from home, which could definitely be an option that you would want to explore, especially if your ideal house is a beach house down in Galveston. So, to commute or not to commute? That is a question that only you can answer. Google Maps is your friend. If you're browsing around on my website looking for homes, pop up Google Maps, put your work address or what's going to be your work address if you're relocating, put that address in there, put the address of the home that you're interested in, and then adjust the start and arrival times to match when you would be going to or leaving work. And that's going to give you a range, which is going to start with 0 traffic and is going to end with, oh my gosh, traffic. So take kind of the middle ground on that. Google Maps may say it's going to be a 15 to 45 minute drive, depending on when you leave. So kind of plan on it being about 30 minutes just to be safe. That's really going to help you narrow down and decide what's really worth it for you. So to commute or not to commute is completely up to you, but it really comes down to what's going to fit best for your family. To help you narrow down the area of Houston that's best for your family even further, you can click on the link below in the description to get a copy of my guide to choosing the best area of Houston for your family. You can also check out other videos on my channel, including the top 10 school districts in the Houston area. So today we talked about whether commuting for the better home is going to be worth it. If you're going to be commuting when you move to Houston, or if you're currently in Houston and you're commuting, I would love to hear about it, hear about your commute and what you think about the length of your commute and where you are living right now. And if this video was helpful to you, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And I will see you next week.